time Nicolas Coppola was born in early 1964, none of his famous relatives had achieved much success. Francis was a budding 23-year-old filmmaker being mentored by Roger Corman. Carmine was a long-struggling musician and composer who, despite having served a stint as first flute in the NBC Symphony Orchestra, was full of resentment and frustration. Cage's father, August, or Augie, was the star of the family, an academic whiz kid who taught literature at California State University in Cage's hometown of Long Beach, and later became Dean of Creative Arts at San Francisco State University. August was popular with women. He was Mr. Casanova, says his son Christopher, and his relationship with and eventual marriage to dancer and choreographer Joy Vogelsang produced 3 boys, of whom Cage was the youngest. August Coppola was the kind of eccentric professor cherished by adventurous students and feared by dull ones. A book jacket bio from 1978 described him as a teacher, environmental artist, and creator of innovative educational programs. After observing the way his fingers interacted with the texture of a pencil, he became obsessed with researching the dimensions of touch and nonverbal communication. Then he locked himself up for 3 days in a room in complete darkness, just to feel around, says Christopher Coppola. This led to the Tactile Dome, an interactive exhibit at the Exploratorium in San Francisco, which the elder Coppola designed in 1971. Occasionally, August Coppola would begin courses with an exercise. He would ask his students to close their eyes, then open them and tell him what they saw. When some students said nothing, August would ask them to leave his class until they saw something. The man took a similarly professorial approach to raising his 3 boys. Mark, born 1958, Christopher, born 1962, and Nicholas, born 1964, whose minds he stimulated with a steady diet of literature and great art. Cage described his father as an intimidating figure and the source of his passionate nature. He's an imposing-looking figure. White sideburns, a combination of Sean Connery and Beethoven, Cage once told Playboy. When I was a kid, the other kids were seeing Disney, and he was showing us movies like Fellini's Juliet of the Spirits. This was before video, so he would take us to the art house cinemas. Imagination was encouraged in the household. During one Thanksgiving dinner, August handed his boys crayons and paper plates and required them to draw their meals. Cage's childhood took a turn for the traumatic around 1970, when his mother began suffering from severe mental illness. She was in and out of institutions for years, and August became the boy's primary caretaker. My brother and I share the same pain, growing up with a sick mother. I had to grow up really fast, because he was a little bro, so I had to cook for him, says Christopher Coppola. We had a very, very stressful childhood, and it wasn't my mom's fault. She was ill. My dad, great teacher, great thinker, but not the strongest father figure in terms of the nuts and bolts of what you do. A lonely child, haunted by fearsome nightmares and an absent mother, Cage became increasingly aware of his differences from others. I was always shocked when I went to the doctor's office and they did my x-ray and didn't find that I had 8 more ribs than I should have, or that my blood was the color green, he once told Movie Line. Amid this trauma, Cage searched for transcendence and escape, and he found it in movies and television. The Monkees, Captain Kangaroo. One anecdote illustrates just how inevitable was his life's path. At age 6, he fantasized about escaping into his television. I wanted to get into the set, he told Details. Amazing things happened there. Dinosaurs were inside the TV, and Jerry Lewis. I remember being on my living room floor on a red carpet, a round throw, and we had an oval-shaped 65 Zenith. That was the reason I wanted to act, because I was so mystified by the tiny people. Cage's creativity emerged at a young age. Christopher Coppola recalls watching his brother sing in an elementary school talent show. He went up and sang Yellow Submarine all by himself a cappella, Christopher says. But when he did the "We All Live in a Yellow Submarine" refrain, he would sing it with a really high voice like Jerry Lewis because he loved Jerry Lewis.